Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show before the free show. It's cold in here.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. You're just always cold, though. So, like, you saying it's cold in here is very Girl Who Cried Wolf.
Fair.
You're just always cold. You're just a cold person.
Yeah, but it gets more cold in here when it's nice outside, because they still keep pumping. It's always opposite, because in the summer it's actually freezing in here because all the air collects.
Mm-hmm.
But in the winter it's really hot in here because they pump the heater so
all
much.
All the air collects.
Yeah, because the door's always closed, so it's like confined. Like the AC is pumping the same amount in here as it is out there. That's a much bigger space to fill, and the door's open. What?
I'm just really interested in just the aerodynamics of all of this.
That's how it happens.
All right.
That's why it's extreme one way or the other.
Did your dad
yes.
or mom?
I'm not trying to cool down the entire damn neighborhood.
Yeah, my dad would say that you're letting all the bought air out.
Yeah.
Which I love. I just love that phrase, bought air.
Yeah.
Which yeah, honestly, think about it for 2 seconds and you're like, makes a lot of sense. This is air we bought. It's free otherwise.
It's fair.
Well, mostly free. Today is going to be another in a continuing series on the pre-show before the free show, where we call Pickles boyfriends of the past.
Oh, that's a new one.
Well, we called Tommy on Friday.
Not my boyfriend, but okay.
Okay, well, whatever. Your crushes, whatever. No, this is a continuing series on the
I don't like where this is
on
going.
The pre-show,
mainly because I don't know where this is going.
Where Pickle learns things that she didn't know about having kids.
Okay.
Things that like I think the hidden agenda of big kid. Okay? Cuz there's a lot of things I think we've glamorized having kids. Oh, look, they're so cute. And they are cute. Mm-hmm. And like there are, to be clear, I love my kids.
It's
I do
not
love
sounding
my kids.
this way.
I do love my kids, and I love being a dad. I love being a dad. And my wife being my partner in this. But like you mentioned, the other day you talked about buying diapers, and you were shocked at how much diapers were.
Yeah.
Let me introduce you to another insidious part of having children.
Okay.
Okay? Car seats.
Yeah.
Okay? Everything about car seats sucks, except for the fact that it keeps your children safe.
Yeah.
That's great. But everything else about it sucks. Okay? So Max is now at the point where he can move from his baby car seat
to a booster seat
to like a more normal car seat.
Okay.
And they make like 4-in-1, 3-in-1. But what we've decided to do is we are going to move Hank into a bigger car seat, like a booster seat, which is going to last him until he's out of car seats. Mm-hmm. And we're going to move Max into the 4-in-1.
Yes.
Okay. So we order the car seat because they're cheaper. Mm-hmm. And by the way, one thing.
Booster seats are way cheaper.
Booster seats are way cheaper than car seats. Mm-hmm. Car seats, very expensive.
Yes.
Booster seats, not all that much less expensive, but still less expensive. Especially when you got to buy two because you have two cars. Which, you know, play the Vivaldi, whatever. That's what first world problems. So we buy the car seats, buy the new booster seats. And so last night I have to do 6 things. Okay? 6 things. This is after the boys go to bed, too. I have to uninstall Max's present car seat. Mm-hmm. I have to install Hank's new booster seat. Mm-hmm. And then I have to, it's technically uninstalling and reinstalling, but it's flipping around because Max is still going to be facing backwards. Mm-hmm. Flipping around that car, Hank's old car seat, which is now becoming Max's new car seat.
Yeah.
Okay. Installing a car seat sucks.
It does. I do know this portion.
It sucks because it is incredibly difficult and
especially
legitimately
how high-tech they are
straining
nowadays.
to get it tight enough. And it's also one of those things that as a dad or a mom, just a parent, it's not one of those things you can skimp on and be like, good enough.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Because like, it is the life of my child. I should probably, and I'm a good driver, but you know. And so I'm out there and it takes me about 40 minutes. First of all, to figure out how this new booster seat works. To install it, I'm just grunting, like throwing out my back, stuff like that. Just grunting, just getting it in. And then I have to go and turn Max's around, just ripping at this cord, this belt, trying to get it as tight as you can. You're leaning on it to try to get the slack out, and finally it's tight. And 40 minutes later, I'm just like, I'm exhausted. I'm done. My wife wants to go see the car seats. And she goes, oh. I thought you were going to switch sides that they were on. So last night.
Why did you have to switch sides? Just for the fun of it?
So basically, Max is. The point was I was going to take the existing car seat and just turn it around in the spot that it was. I wasn't going to move it to the other side of the car. My wife did not think that was a super awesome idea. And so I then got to uninstall and reinstall the car seats again.
Lord.
Which means if you're counting
it's like 6
uninstallations and installations, I did 10 of them last night.
Jesus.
And every one of them sucked.
Serious question here, and I'm not saying that you're that old. I'm just saying that the times did change between Jake and I, so I know that it's recent stuff. When you were a kid, was it how strict? When I was a kid, the car seat rules were kind of strict, but they like really ramped up when Jake was older.
Yeah,
and to where I think I was out of a booster seat by like 4 or 5 maybe, and it's
right.
like he had to stay in one until he was either 8 or a certain height.
No, it's now they're basically saying you're in a booster seat or it's like a car seat till you're like 8.
Yeah,
or it's like second grade.
Yeah, because I think it switched right. Jake was right on the cusp of 6, I think, and then they switched it, and he had 2 more years into it.
I mean, they've obviously done research and figured out that like it's safer for them, and like I remember, but I'm old enough to remember that they would sell that for kids who were too little to use the cross thing, that it would be like way up here, they would sell things that would like
hold it down. I had one of those. Right. That way I didn't have to be in a booster seat.
Right, those have gone extinct because now that you just keep them in the booster seat for long.
Right. So that's why I was curious, like when you were a kid.
So like for example,
there's really not.
This is like a really, this is a big thing. I don't think this is just more of a. I'm not trying to blow up anybody's spot. This is more just a difference in generations. My dad came over on Wednesday to take Hank to t-ball practice, and t-ball is a third of a mile, a half a mile down the road. You know where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not far at all.
Very
short. It's a quick walk, honestly.
And so and so my dad was like, "Hey, instead of taking my wife's car with a car seat, why don't Hank I'll buckle him in the back seat." And my wife, who is an educator and likes around kids, is like, no, like absolutely not. That's not going to happen. And that's, again, I don't think that's good, bad, or indifferent. No. I think everybody's coming at that with the best interest of the child at heart. But like that's a generational thing of like,
oh yeah, like, why waste time when it's right there?
Greg was on the hood of the car at the age of 3.
I was like, we were riding in the back of like the bed of the truck with no worries, as it's like, it's a dirt road and you're just going right down.
And one other thing, and then we'll finish one other thing. The real racket of the car seats is that they expire.
Oh, cheat. Yeah.
So I can't sell the car seat. Oh, like the one that we're done with for Max, like we can't sell it because it's expired.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Whatever.
It's a
That's
racket.
So dumb.
It's a racket.
That's so dumb.
But like
that's the equivalent of Apple changing their chargers all the time just so you have to keep buying new ones.
But at the same time, and we'll start the show here in just a second. At the same time, I understand, they're just going to take my money. Yeah. Because it's the safety of my child. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So you're going to do it.
That's not something you're going to skimp on.
No.
And so that's how they get you. Anyway.
That's just crazy.
So there's another thing to look forward to one day if you ever become a mom.
I can already hear my parents. Oh, that'll be fine.
Yeah.
Which I tend to have the same thought process on that too.
This is why I think that your dad and my and your folks and my
well, it's just like riding a bike. Like I never had a bike helmet, not once. Absolutely did not. It was like, oh, you fell, get back. My dad told me to rub some dirt on it the first time that I fell, and then I got mad and I threw my bike down, and he was like, you're fine.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, totally different. Nowadays, like, they're not walking without a helmet, you know?
Right. All right, hit the theme expo. Pickle! Hit the arrow sign. Yes, y'all. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it's Texas Football Today, a show on the internet. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, a magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live, TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all the places, or listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I'm sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She's the Duchess of the Dorks, Miss 305. She's Ashley Pickle.
Howdy, folks.
What's up? How was your Texan Live evening?
We didn't have many games last night. We do have games tonight. Yeah. Most of them with the boys are on Tuesday night now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we had a couple. Not many. They went well.
Today is Tuesday, February 28th, 2023. Hank was very excited this morning that it's the last day of February. Like he thinks it's very cool that like we have one like short month. It's like, this is the last one.
It's nice. Imagine his surprise when he realizes that every 4 years there's an extra day of February.
Yeah, 268 days until Thanksgiving. Happy 24th birthday.
Okay.
To Luka Doncic.
I don't like being older
from
than
Ljubljana,
a superstar.
From Ljubljana, Slovenia. Our little Slovenian prince. Happy birthday, little buddy.
He blew a 27-point lead the other day.
He didn't do anything. Happy birthday.
Well, yeah, he didn't do anything like scoring, that's for sure. Ha!
Didn't the Spurs and the Mavericks play recently?
I don't know. I was working. I was doing high school basketball. Thank you.
Episode 1548. On today's show, folks, Math Tuesday. We are going to discuss the idea of home field advantage in Texas high school football. And I've got some numbers to back up some theories. We're going to kick it around because I think there's actually an interesting argument here. So we'll talk about that. In the back half of the show, we're going to be joined by the new head coach of the Rockdale Tigers, Coach Hunter Hamrick. It is a homecoming for Coach Hamrick. He's coming from Ingleside. He was the offensive coordinator for Rockdale back in the mid-2010s. So we will hear from Coach Hamrick of Rockdale coming up here in just a little bit. I was saying Ingleside. No, he wasn't Ingleside.
Again, much like yesterday, this is the point in the year where you have to remind yourself where these coaches are working because it just kind of rolls off the tongue.
100%. Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was just Chad, Zill0678, Andrew Christensen, and Tony Blaylock. Welcome in, fellas. Zill is very excited for Math Tuesday, which makes me happy.
The whole world is really excited for Math Tuesday. Which, listen, why keep the people waiting? It's time for Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday. Math Tuesday.
It's Math Tuesday here on Texas Football Today, where we take an opportunity to dig inside the numbers and talk about all things high school football, college football,
and math.
All with an eye towards math. Because that's what we are. We're math magicians around here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to
Do not look at our degrees from college.
Or our grades in math class.
Just trust us. I took one math course.
Let's talk. Did you?
Yeah.
Which one was that?
The super easy one. Like the beginner course.
That was it. Statistics, too, and it ruled. Statistics was great. Let's talk a little bit about home field advantage.
Go.
And I am a little torn on the idea of home field advantage. So the common narrative would be if you play at home, that is you should have a small advantage in the game, right? That being at home is in football in the NFL usually, as far as betting is concerned, it's about 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 3 points is where it tends to lie. I'm a little torn though, because I also think that while obviously there are hostile environments and things like that, I'm not sure it makes all that much of a difference. Mm-hmm. That if you're a better team, you're just going to be a better team. Now, in high school football, it's interesting because I don't think all home field advantages are created equal. One, obviously crowd size varies differently.
Yeah.
Stadium size varies differently. Mm-hmm. There's also a bigger gap between the good teams and the bad teams. And I think the biggest thing is travel.
I was just fixing to say, I think that, like, Mallory and I have talked about this before, and we have a very differing opinion on this because she went to Arlington, which mm-hmm. means Arlington ISD, which means the furthest that they traveled for an away game was about 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, your body doesn't get tired. But we used to do basketball games on a Tuesday night all the way down in Taylor or Salado. That was 2.5 hours on the bus.
Right.
Like, after a full day of school, and that's travel. Yeah. Travel's the main factor.
And that's the interesting thing is that, like, I think that there is such a thing as home field advantage, but it's not necessarily, oh, they're playing at this building.
Yeah, it's not necessarily, oh, this turf is different than this turf. You know, it's the location.
I think it's, when we talk about home field advantage, we mean like a conglomerate of different mm-hmm. factors that we kind of all lump into one bucket. But I want to take a look at how home field advantage played out in the 2022 Texas high school football season. And so, if you're interested, there were 6,074 regular season UIL Texas high school football games. 6,074.
That's a lot of football.
6,074. Now, those are regular season games. These also, I believe, I also removed any games between non-varsity opponents. So sometimes, and especially at the mm-hmm. 6-man ranks, and sometimes at the small 11-man ranks, you will have varsity teams that just play a sub-varsity team. Mm-hmm. So I removed those.
Or new schools that aren't technically varsity.
Right. Also, I removed games with teams from out of state. So if teams are going across a state border, whether it's a team coming in or a team going out, I removed those as well. So you're left with 6,074 UIL regular season Texas football games. I also removed the playoffs for obvious reasons, mm-hmm. which are 90+% of those games are played at neutral sites. Mm-hmm. Some are played at home for reasons that we can discuss, but 90+% of them are neutral sites.
Yeah, and I guess
and so there are. I'm sorry to interrupt. No, there are home teams, but that is functionally like when North Shore played Westlake. Mm-hmm. Westlake might have been the home team, but functionally it was a neutral site game.
Right. I was just going to say the only time that that argument could come into play is like Grapevine and Colleyville when they play each other. They technically share a stadium, but realistically one is home and one is away.
So there are some, and so, but I do think that the sample size is big enough that all those will come out in the wash.
Yes.
So let's start with this. Let's start with overall the wins and losses, which is overall home teams won 53.1% of the games.
Yeah.
3,226 to 2,848. So home teams did win. If you are interested, the average margin. So if you believe in home field advantage and you want to look at how much it's worth, the average margin, I didn't put this on a graphic.
Okay. I was checking.
was about 2.2 points. About 2.2 points. A home team scored 2.2 more points on average than visiting teams. So that would kind of jive with the idea of about a 3-point advantage for being at home. Mm-hmm. 2.2 points.
Especially because if you want to put it in terms of the NFL, there are so many more games being played with Texas high school football that dropping down 0.8 points seems very, very in line with each other.
So I want to take a look, though, and I want to take a look as far as, because we have all these games. We have 74 games. 6,074 games. A lot of games. But not all of these were always going to be close. For example, let me give you an example, and I don't mean this, I don't mean to be disparaging to somebody or to a team, but Austin LBJ hosted Austin Eastside. Okay, Austin LBJ hosted Austin Eastside. Now, Austin LBJ, very clearly the best team in Austin ISD. Austin Eastside, still kind of retrenching itself, trying to get its feet back under him. That was never going to be a contest. And by the way, the game ended 96-0. Okay? So, the question is, how do we kind of sort for those? And so what I did was I took a look at the games that the DCTF computer projected to be within 8 points. So the DCTF computer looked at these and said, these two teams are relatively evenly matched, that we think this game should be a one-score game. And here, I thought, go to the next one.
Oops, sorry.
And here is an interesting thing. Visiting teams actually won the majority of those games, about 51.7% of the games. Of games projected to be within 8 points by the DCTF computer. So close games, evenly matched games.
Yeah.
The visiting team decided or was the winner. Now, one thing to keep in mind. The DCTF computer does build in its own home field advantage. It does have a small home field advantage built in that if you are home, you are going to be favored by a few more points. So I do wonder if that comes into play, perhaps the home field advantage that we have built in on the DCTF computer for 2022 was a little bit too big, right? That would seem to indicate, because ideally you want it to be perfectly even. It was an odd number, but you know what I mean. You want it to be even. I do wonder if that speaks to the computer having a little bit of too much of a home field advantage built in. But then I want to look at, okay, so Galveston Ball beat Houston Northside 83-0. We can't really glean a whole lot from that. Galveston Ball is at home. That doesn't mean that I don't think that home field advantage had a ton to do with Galveston Ball beating Houston Northside.
No, it's got to be this coin flip type of games.
So I want to take a look at games that were actually decided, regardless of what the DCTF computer thought. Games that were decided by one score. So one score games, 8 points or fewer. And once again, you see home teams did have an advantage here. They won 42 more games than the visiting teams. They had 51.6% of the regular season Texas high school football games decided by one score. That, to me, this is, in my opinion, the most... This is, in my opinion, the most clear. If you are an advocate that you think home field advantage is a big factor, this is the argument. Thing you point to.
Yeah.
That you say, in close games, in games that are decided by one score, home teams won 51.6 of them. And by the way, the average margin here was less than 0.2 points between them, right? But those small margins, when you're talking about close games, they literally mean everything.
Yeah.
And so, does home field advantage matter in Texas high school football? I think it does, a little bit. A little bit. Now, I don't think that a bad team at home is going to play a good team, and suddenly that being at home is going to make the difference. But I do think that, especially when you're talking about teams that are relatively evenly matched, and teams that games that we think are going to come down to the wire, I think there's a small advantage for home teams.
Yeah, it would be interesting to take a look at I don't know if this is possible, but to take a look at all of the games that the computer said were a pick'em game and see which side of the threshold that fell on.
I might be able to do that real quick.
Oh, that would be interesting. But yeah, no, I think that travel goes a long way into that. I think that's the largest factor. But then, yeah, too, like you said, there's just no way to...
All right. So there were 99 pick'em games.
Okay.
And let me see. Oh, geez. Oh, I've got to sort this thing real quick. You're listening to live coverage of me trying to do this, trying to do the...
Math Tuesday
real quick. I'm looking at a the spreadsheet? Okay. So there were, 99 games?
92,
So there were there were 99 pick'em games.
Okay.
Across Texas high school football. According to Dave Campbell's technical computer. Or the home team won 51. 51 of the 99.
So you're going to be
which means that the road team won 47. So there you go.
Yeah.
In a pick'em game,
which that sample size basically mirrors what we said by the 8 points or fewer.
Yeah. 51-47 home team or 51-48 whatever it was. Yeah. So anyway, there's a look at home field advantage in Texas high school football. I think it matters. I don't want to go crazy about it, but I do think that when you take a look at the numbers, home field advantage is on the whole meaningful, probably by about 2 points. And in a close game, that can mean everything.
Well, and I think in the neutral site games is when you can really see of like how much crowd attendance matters, because that's definitely just one of the small factors that goes into the large equation. But like you look at state games, when one side has a huge crowd, like you can feel that team play a little bit different.
So there it is. A look at Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday.
We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Now a word from our friends at VCR Now.
Born and bred in Texas hits a little different, as it should. Texas loves doing business with fellow Texans. VCR Now takes its Texas roots as seriously as its many partnerships with schools and universities around the state. It's also why we're so proud to promote our brand in the pages of the Texas Bible, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and on the airwaves of Texas Football Today. Driven by producing quality broadcast video, state-of-the-art audio, and LED video scoreboards at affordable prices, VCR Now makes sure to listen to your needs in its athletic department before recommending the next best steps. Building great products is our business, and it's our focus on building meaningful long-term partnerships with our clients that sets us apart. From our 24/7, 365-day help desk, the training lab in our hometown of Red Oak, or our sports marketing business plan that puts money back in the hands of our athletic departments we support, VCR Now is built to last. Reach out to us today at info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW. Again, that's info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW.
Pickle, let's go to the hotline. We are heading to Milam County there in Central Texas. We're pleased to be joined by the new head coach of the Rockdale Tigers, Coach Hunter Hamrick. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm excellent. How are things in beautiful Rockdale, Texas?
Well, shaping up, man, one day at a time. Just got some busy things going on as any place. I saw all head football coaches, ADs making change this time of year, man. It's just coming into track season and tennis and golf and baseball, softball, powerlifting, everything's going on, man. So just trying to hit the ground running, try to communicate with people.
This is a return from whence you came there to in Rockdale. You were their offensive coordinator back in the earlier part of the last decade, or middle part of the last decade, before a successful stint there at Ingleside. We've read a lot. We saw the board meeting where everyone said what a great fit you were for Rockdale. I'm interested in kind of flipping that question. What made Rockdale the right fit for you, for Hunter Hamrick and his family?
Man, it was just always, I started my coaching career down the road in Lexington, and I had a great time there. I had a great staff. We always had great kids. Looked down the road where Coach Miller was in Rockdale and saw the same thing. He was building a program and had him going in the right direction, and we just always saw the talent level that they had. And just when I had the opportunity to jump on board, man, I felt like it was a great fit for me to get back in the Central Texas area, and that was back in that decade when I took the OC job. And so the same thing kind of with this deal now. I just was looking for an opportunity to get back up this direction. My wife's family's all from the Waco area. So it's just a great opportunity, great place. We had a fantastic 4 years here, just not only athletically, but also just the people we met in the community. And, Coach Miller just did a great job with this place while I was here. And, it's different for sure going to a place where you're known and, and people kind of know what to expect from me and those type of things. And I think likewise with us, it makes that transition a little bit easier on my family, just kind of knowing what we're getting into from the get-go, man. So always know there's talent here. There's the ability in multiple sports to play at a high level and compete at a high level and have an opportunity to win state championships. And that's definitely eye-opening and a draw for anybody.
I have to imagine, though, that it was a little bittersweet leaving a place like Ingleside, where you spent the last 7 seasons. You took them from 0-10 in your first year there to 4 playoff appearances in your 7 years. There was a hurricane. There was a pandemic. You went through it down there in Ingleside, and yet was able to find success on a consistent basis. I have to imagine that as excited as you are to be there at Rockdale, that leaving Ingleside was not necessarily an easy decision.
No, man, that's anytime you're in that place, and that's my longest tenure anywhere as a coordinator, head coach, any of that type of stuff. Being somewhere 7 years, you develop relationships in the community, and you're attached to kids, especially that you've seen come up since the time they're in elementary school. This group of seniors that we had in Ingleside, that was a great group of kids that we just, like I said, that we had an opportunity just to build a lot of close personal relationships. Not only me, but my family as well, and. Got to see them do some things. Got the opportunity to go watch them in the basketball playoffs last week, which we hadn't been in the basketball playoffs in 12 years, and it was a big deal for both our boys and girls program. And got to take my family back down and experience that with them. And it's a great community down there. The beach life is awesome. The facilities were unbelievable. Just again one of those deals that we just felt the time was right for us and the family to make that move. But anytime you leave a place, man, it's hard to sell that home and pick up where you've raised your kids for a little while, for 7 years of their lives, and seen a couple of them or seen one of them born. And it's definitely a bittersweet thing there. And just obviously we wish them nothing but success in the future. And obviously, I believe that they are set up to have some good things going forward. They know how to win, and I think the hire they made will work out for them. And I just think they have the tools there to be successful, not only in football but in everything that they're doing right now.
We're talking with Hunter Hamrick, the new head coach of the Rockdale Tigers here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, #TF Today. Coach, you're taking over a program that just missed the playoffs for the first time in a decade at a 3-7 mark. That is extremely unlike Rockdale, is an uncharacteristic down year. When you came in December and the first time you addressed your players as head coach, what was your message to your guys?
Man, you just try not to overwhelm them too much about things that might be changing. You try to get them excited about things that will be changing. They're all going to be for the positive. And you don't want to sit there and harp on negative things. I think that's really easy to do is to sit there and maybe focus on things maybe they weren't doing or they didn't accomplish and those type things, instead of just looking at what they have gotten done and where they've been in the past and even in the very recent past. This is not a place that's broken by any means. I don't think people look at it that way. With a 3-7 record, like you said, and not making the playoffs, I mean, it's real easy for people to look at a place and go, well, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing type deal. And I don't really think that's the case, man. This place here was scoring 40 points a game on a team that goes and wins a state championship, and they're in every football game. They're in the conversation. They're in the football game right there, and they're in the conversation at the beginning of the games before they even kick off. So it's real hard for me to look at it and see it as a rebuilding mode type deal. I really don't look at it that way. I think the talent's here to win games. I just think they were on the wrong side of some events and scoreboard in different areas. And we're just really excited about what we have here. Like I said, it's not just football, man. There's tremendous talents in all areas of this community. And we're just looking forward to building that and trying to get them all excited about being that. And, our basketball team did some great things. Our girls were right there on the cusp of getting into the playoffs, which has been the first time in quite some time here since, I think, 2016. And our boys basketball team won some district games back-to-back for the first time. And I know that's not harping on much, but it was a big deal to see them get there, and that's definitely not a credit to me. I had nothing to do with any of that stuff. That's what's already going on here. So, we're excited about what the place has to offer for sure.
I do have to ask, Coach, because I think we can all agree that moving's not the number one best thing in the world. But also moving with 3 kids is an event. How did Hayes, Hutch, and Mabry deal with the move? Because that's a lot.
so every job I've taken, I've always had the opportunity to elevate to a coordinator role or move on, and I've always done that in the middle of the year. And this is the first time that I've had the chance to do it with my family. It's usually me going for 2 or 3 months by myself and going and whether living in a camper or just somewhere that's different, and it gives you the opportunity to really just be around athletics, and your family's not there to experience that with you. So we packed up. We had a half day of school in December, and we packed up the U-Haul that afternoon. I got rid of my kids, got them, passed them off on the grandparents, and we packed up. We brought in 10 kids from Ingleside that helped us load up a U-Haul, and we pulled out. That was that big cold front that came through in December. We pulled out and got here by midnight so we could wake up the next morning before the cold front blew in at 11. And man, they got to experience the coaching world just full force, man, in December. So they're all in new schools, and we're about to celebrate. Hutch has a birthday on Friday, so we're celebrating that, and he wants to go down and see his friends in Ingleside. And we had to do that for the oldest one in January for his birthday. So it's just it's a new experience for all of us. But I'm glad to have them here. We sit there and we talk about it with them. Just, hey, we used to be Rockdale Tigers and all this other stuff, and just trying to jog that memory of theirs, so it's not completely new to them, and seeing like Hayes pulls out his old pre-K picture from when he was here in the past, and he's trying to figure out these kids now as 6th graders and who they are and what they look like then and who his buddies were then, all this other stuff. Man, it's a pretty neat deal for them. So we're loving it. My defensive coordinator, he started yesterday. His family is hopefully moving in here in the next couple of weeks, and Mabry and their daughter are 2 months apart, and they're pretty much childhood best friends. So we're looking forward to getting them back together, and that'll be exciting. And then they bought the house 2 houses down from us, so that's going to be a neat little experience, man.
That's going to be fun. He's Hunter Hamrick. He's the new head coach of the Rockdale Tigers. Coach, we sure appreciate your time. Congratulations again on the new gig. Can't wait to see what you guys do there with the Tigers.
Absolutely, man. Thanks, Greg. Thanks for having us on.
Absolutely. There he goes. Rockdale head coach Hunter Hamrick joined us here at Texas Football today. Going, like I said, kind of a homecoming for him. He was the offensive coordinator there under Coach Jeff Miller for a while before taking his head coaching debut there at Ingleside. Did a really good job there. 4 playoff appearances in 7 seasons, and kind of turned them into a consistent force down there on the coast. But now an opportunity to come back to Rockdale and try to, like I mentioned, they missed the playoffs for the first time in 10 years. That's a real, if you look over the course of Rockdale history, that's a real outlier. Mm-hmm. I have a feeling that he's going to get that Coach Hamrick's going to get the Tigers back and rolling here pretty soon. So we appreciate Coach Hunter Hamrick of Rockdale joining us here on Texas Football Today. Let's go over to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts.
We had an announcement yesterday. Carter Yates announced that he has been hired by DCTF to be our new college sports writer. So welcome Carter to the team, but also you already know that. There will be a massive Dave Campbell's college football announcement tomorrow. I believe tomorrow around noon. I don't know the exact time, maybe 2. Maybe they're doing it on ROF. I don't know. But be by the Dave Campbell social media channels tomorrow, because big college announcement coming out tomorrow.
Do you know what it is?
I do.
Can you tell me?
You already know.
Did you say it was Carter is his name?
Oh, my goodness.
Huh. Didn't we just hire a college guy?
Yep.
So we hired another college guy?
Yep. And Ish got promoted to a college guy. And
what?
Powers is doing college stuff and
recruiting.
We're growing.
I don't know
making
if I
moves.
like this. There was a time back in my day where it was just me and Poochie.
Okay, I mean, if you want to go back to that, we can all just leave you here to do your thing, if that's what you would prefer.
Let me be very clear. I don't want to go back to that because I have.
I mean, if we can leave. I mean, after the show.
I'm popping this thing into neutral. I'm coasting. I'm done trying. This will be great. I'm glad you guys can try.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks again to Hunter Hamrick of Rockdale for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please give me your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see you tomorrow on Texas Football Today.